Listen up, boy, I be a coach. Teaching how to think different with a new approach. I hope you're taking notes. Haters think it's jokes. They got me fired up, but they don't want the smoke.
Mic check 1 2 1 2, ladies and gentlemen. You're now in the building with your boy Coach K, and this is the first 5, season number 6. We continue. A lot of energy, a lot of love that's coming out of here because we've been having some great conversations with some amazing people. And today, our guest today, she's a black belt. She's been in the industry for 24 years. Just kidding. She's been doing this activity stuff for 24 years. And she is really taking the city by storm with her catch and release program, the ultimate, let me say this correctly to give it its life that it deserves, okay, is the ultimate multidisciplinary workout experience. And this year is going to be on May 18th. She's here to promote her efforts of equality and inclusion in health and wellness in Montreal. Has granted her connections with various sponsors, even radio appearances. She was on the radio recently as well, and more. She's doing a lot of things to impact the community. Definitely, I would consider her to be an impact player. And fun fact, first time we're meeting in person.
Yay!
Look at this. all these COVID connections you have over this time, we finally making something happen. And a very, very amazing person. And she's here to discuss more about her event, and we're going to learn more about her background. Please welcome Laurie-Ann Batraville. How are you?
Thank you so much. I'm doing good. How are you?
Nah, I can't complain. Weather's getting better.
Yes.
So time to get ourselves outside. Guys, if you're not getting enough vitamin D in your life, please get outside. 15 minutes minimum. Try and maximize that as much as you can. Appreciate you coming today. I know everyone kind of comes on a little short notice, but we've been trying to make this happen for quite some time.
It's happening now. So
and it's happening, right? Yeah, we're happening right now, so it's not even anything to worry about. I don't even know why I'm sweating so hard. It's hot in here. My goodness, I think I'm wearing way too many layers, but it's all good. Want to discuss a bit about your background, how you started this event, and how you even started as a trainer, as a professional. Where are your parents from? Where are you from?
Oh,
okay, here we go.
I am Canadian, but I am from Haitian descent.
Okay.
So both my mom and my dad are Haitian.
Okay.
They are both born and raised in Haiti. And so it makes me I don't know if they call it first generation immigrant or something like that. When,
when your parents
when your parents are immigrants, but you're not an immigrant, but you're so I have I find a lot of Caribbean people that are born here, but their parents are born in the Caribbean, is that you have the Canadian culture a little bit.
Yeah.
Because your household is a West Indian household.
Yeah.
You mainly identify with being whatever West Indian country you're from.
For sure.
I do very much so identify with being Haitian. But when you look at my passport, it says Canada. It does say Canada. So if you're asking
I get you.
Tell you I'm Canadian.
I get you.
On January 1st, I celebrate the independence and I drink my soup.
Okay. Oh, and that Haitians don't have jollof. It's not jollof rice. It's Haitian.
No,
right? That's African.
No. Jollof rice is Nigerian. I think Ghanaian rice as
okay.
well.
Okay. But that's what's up.
Yeah.
How long have your parents been in Canada?
Wow, they've been together since 1979.
Mm-hmm.
Do the math.
Okay, listen. My parents have been married since 1977. They've been married 47 years this year. 47. Yeah. So 45 years. 45 years?
45 years. There we go.
Okay, what's up? Shout out to your parents, okay? Longevity. That's what's up.
Yeah.
Look, relationships these days, let me tell you something. I've been married 15 years this year.
Amen.
Relationships are not easy. So when a person passes year 20, you're like, wow. And they pass year 30, year 40, 45?
Yeah.
Jordan numbers? Come on now. What's going on here?
My brother's 40 or 41, so.
There you go. That's what's up. So being that you grew up in a West Indian household, obviously your parents, your family probably had an impact on you, but who would you say had the biggest impact on you that helps you to be the person you are today? Like siblings, your parents, your teachers, mentors?
The biggest impact, I would have to say it's, So my brother was into basketball.
Okay.
And my sister was into dance. And my brother's actually the one that pushed me to go into martial arts, to leave dance and to go into martial arts. So he has definitely been a key player.
Yeah.
I would consider him one of the key players. Simply because after martial arts is when I took it seriously once upon a time, like in 2016, 2017. Like I stopped working and I just competed and worked out to compete.
Yeah.
And then I remember I was at a crossroad where I was asking, I asked him for advice, and I'm like, yo, do I like go back to work and then I don't compete, or do I like, take these 9 months, I train for this competition, which was in Ireland. I train for this competition, I make the weight category, and then I work. And he's like, yo, you're going to have all your life to work. Just take the opportunity now to train, and then you do the competition. And then like that was a bit of a, I don't realize it now, but like it is a pivotal, I didn't realize it then, but now it is a pivotal moment, because after I did that, a lot of people saw me lose weight and then be super disciplined. I'd be at gatherings and I wouldn't have dessert. I wouldn't eat because it wasn't part of my eating plan.
Yeah.
And then from then on, after that competition, I came back and I started training people. So I would say my brother and three of my friends as well, have had a pivotal impact in like me launching this business officially. Like the way I launched it is also like having a conversation with one of my friends. I went to Houston and there was a trainer that had a gym. It was a black owned gym, female black owned gym, and the whole gym was like black women. I'm like, oh my gosh, wow.
Yeah. Having
been in martial arts, like it's a male dominated sport. And so like I'm always used to be surrounded by white men, and so I'm like, oh my gosh, like there's like a gym with
culture
only
shock
black
for you.
women. It really culture shock.
Wow.
I'm black, and I'm like, there's a gym with only black women. Wow, and the owner's black and the trainer's black. And then I came back home. That year I went 3 times to Houston to that gym, and I came back home and I was having a conversation with one of my friends in her room, and she's like, yo, like you can do this, like I'm stopping you and whatever. And so from having had that conversation with that friend, I launched it. I'm like, yeah, you're right, like let's do this.
You got yourself started from there. That's what's up. You always gotta have a why behind something, and we talked about that briefly before we started. We'll get into that more in detail, because I think your reason why is very, very profound, and it's impactful. Based on what I was reading when I was studying you a little bit, I was like stalking around, like, oh, okay, let's see what's going on out here. But most people, they base their brand on like several things. So let's say it's personal experience. What you said in martial arts, you're used to seeing a certain, like, it's male dominated, white males that are in that sport. How did you feel being like a female, black female, sort of like a rare person in that still got like a sore thumb, I guess you could say, in that environment? How did it make you feel?
To be honest, I had a couple dojos. I had one dojo in Montreal. In Montreal, I didn't feel too awkward. South, I don't know. I'm the kind of person that I'm maybe used to being an outcast.
Yeah.
And so when you're used to being an outcast, you don't necessarily notice that you're always like a fish outside of water.
Got you.
The only thing sometimes is like when you have like natural black hair, putting on a helmet. We had helmets. Putting on a helmet is sometimes hard, and so like hairstyles when you have helmet is a little challenging. I didn't feel it until when I had a dojo in the South Shore.
Okay.
And having a dojo in the South Shore, that's where I felt a little more alienated.
Yeah, alienated.
Alienated, exactly. Simply because then it was like Montreal's a little more multicultural, multi-diverse. People are used to whatever. But over there, it was like I was a little more like a unicorn. People would ask. I remember like clear as day, this like 16, 17-year-old girl asking me, she's like, does your hair fall? Because like when I would do a ponytail, it'd stay in the air. And she's like, does your hair fall? And I was so frustrated. Then you can't be mad when someone doesn't know, because it was honest question. Yeah. But I got used to, with time, just brushing it off my shoulder. That instance, it rubbed me the wrong way, but I answered because I knew it was innocent. I'm like, yeah, it does fall, it does. But long story short, I did feel alienated, but with time, what happens is that you just constantly brush it off, because you have a mission, you have a goal. I love the martial arts more than whatever feeling of discomfort comes with being marginalized. So I'm like, no, like I love to fight, I love to compete, and nothing can get in the way of that love for competition.
Yeah. And you're a black belt.
Correct.
How many years does it take to get to that point? I guess it depends on how.
It depends
how much
on your instructor, on your dojo. I think the average is 5 years. Me, it took me 7 because I had a sensei that made us stay brown belt for 2 years.
Okay.
And so when you say brown belt for 2 years,
it's
2 years out of the way. But yeah, it takes about 5 years to become a black belt, you know.
Yeah, it's consistent.
Absolutely.
Over time.
Like I know some people, they start and they stop. I didn't stop. I never stopped. So yeah, I just stayed consistent with it.
Yeah. And do you utilize what you learn in becoming a black belt in your discipline and what you do now, like to help?
100%. 100%. I think one of the greatest things that martial arts gave me is, apart from discipline, I think that's a classic thing, but it's the consistency. It's period. Consistency, period. It's just keep at it. Literally, like you're a white belt, you keep at it. When you're yellow, you keep at it. And one thing that was funny that I learned in martial arts is that when you become black, it's like, I thought like that was like the end all, but then I realized that's another place to start keeping at it, because it's a new beginning. Yeah. You know? And I like the idea also black represents infinity, because it represents all the colors. And so like when I learned that black, you can get dance and keep growing and stuff, but it's just the idea of like keeping at it. And I think the consistency part of martial arts is what I take everywhere.
Okay, that's what's up. You mentioned that when you get the black, you thought it was the end, but there's obviously more to it. So is it like you have black and then you have like triple black?
Kind of, because you have the dans.
Okay.
So like you have those like gold. If you look at certain black belts, they have like gold lines. And so gotcha. The more lines you get, it represents a certain amount of dans, and it also represents seniority, experience. Yeah. And so I didn't do the dance because I just wanted to compete. Yeah. But you can do dance and just age and grow.
And just keep learning.
Yeah, and keep going and keep learning. And sometimes I think there are different requirements for certain dance. Yeah. You have to stay active and sometimes, refine certain things in the art or in the style, but there's still growth. Okay, black.
That's what's up. That's amazing. How did your parents take you deciding to go that route? Because I know sometimes West Indian parents are like, they'll tell you you don't want to do that. How many things we wanted to do when we were younger, and my mom was like, nah, you don't want to do that, and I'm like, man, I always shut this down.
Oh, it was like, because I did listen when I did do the ballet. I started with dance, and then I don't know. They were okay with it. Yeah. To be honest, they were okay with it as long as school was always, correct. Yeah, there was one time that like I was sick and I didn't want to go to school. Well, I couldn't go to school, but then I wanted to go to karate. Yeah. In the evening, and they're like, "What? No." And then I'm like, "I don't want to go to school anymore." And then they're like, "There's no more karate for you." So then, like, for them, the like most important thing was school. After that, the sport or the discipline that you choose, it's up to you there. But no, school had to be like number one.
Trinidadians would say, "You better karate your books."
Oh yeah.
You better black belt your books there. I'm like, okay, all right, calm down there, sir.
Yes, I will.
That's amazing. So when you got started, was there nervousness behind your business, like when you got started in the industry, or was it something that just became natural to you because of your reason why you wanted to start?
For me, it just became natural to me. But I got pushed into it. Like I remember some people asking me, like, did you like deliberately go into it, or like did people encourage you to go into it? For me, it was like I think low key got pushed into it. Yes, I had a conversation with my friend, so I did have the desire to start it. But then you always need that thing that's gonna like ignite you. Yeah. And so because I was so well surrounded, like I had started with like once a month. I'm like, let me just test this out, see if this works. Are people coming? Like, do people like the trainings and stuff like that? And then my friend was like, yo, if you don't continue, like, I'm gonna go get you, da 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 da. And so because I had such positive reinforcement around me, I never felt nervous or shy. I never saw it like, it's mostly if I'm like comparing or I'm trying to compare myself to other trainers, then like I may feel a certain type of way. But like me by myself in my head, like, nah. No.
That's what's up. Hey man, if you have the confidence, obviously it shows that you have the confidence in what you do. Not just having the knowledge of it, but it's the confidence behind it, because we can know a lot of things and then not apply it because we're not confident in ourselves to deliver it a certain way. But I mean, other than the fact that this event you're doing is now the 5th edition, hey, confidence must be there because it's leading to something great. Talking about the fitness industry itself, being in it as many years as you've been in it since you started your business, what changes have you seen that have benefited you, and what are some things you've seen that you're like, I can leave that over there because that's not really my vibe? You did mention before that you kind of like, you used to be in like an outlier in certain things. So do you still feel like you're an outlier in what you do now, or is it that?
I don't feel like an outlier in what I do now. What I find in terms of the fitness industry, I'm not sure if this will answer the question, but I don't know if you get those too, is like how people like training, in terms of training, I feel to a certain extent people like overdo it in terms of like when you look at especially with social media, like social media being a little more rampant post COVID, is that like all these challenges and all these ways of training, like your Hercules and all these things that people are like, oh my gosh, wow. Or I think what I'm noticing is the entertainment aspect is what I'm trying to describe.
Okay.
Is the entertainment aspect in fitness that I think is always to a certain level present when you're a trainer. Yes, you have to train a person, but you have to keep them entertained, whether it be by music, whether it be by talking, and maybe by different ways. But now I think with social media, entertainment in the fitness industry, I think it's gone like a little more crazy in my opinion. I don't know what you think.
I mean, I see what you're saying. There is a lot of
like, I don't know, crazy challenge. I'm doing battle ropes while I'm on a Bosu, and then I'm like going in and out,
you're eating I'm eating a sandwich at the same time, and I'm, calling my friend, and I'm texting them, there's a lot of things that are, and people always send me stuff.
Yes.
I just got a video, shout out to my guy, Sean. Just got a video of a guy doing a ab wheel on a barbell.
Okay, exactly. Stuff like that.
And he goes, "This is you?" I'm like, "No, this is not me."
Exactly. Stuff like that where I'm like, is it necessary?
Yeah.
But there is that entertainment aspect. There is that wow aspect. In my personal opinion, in terms of like the fitness industry with time, that's what I'm seeing like is a little more popular.
Yeah.
I do get them too, but then for me, it worries me because I'm like, yo, this person could get hurt. Like, I'm worried for people's safety when I see stuff like that, because what happens is that people, especially with social media, people like to replicate what they see.
Yeah.
And so some people, like, if I know the person personally and they're like on a tire and they're walking on it, I'm like, oh no, I know her. She'll be fine. But like other things, I'm just like very much so concerned for the safety, because people really much replicate what they see. And that could be like a serious problem. Yeah.
So are you cautious? Would you say you're a cautious person when it comes to what you share, so that you don't have things that people go, oh, I'm going to replicate that?
Yes.
And then
I'm super cautious in terms of what I share. And then in terms of like, for me, when I train people, it's like their safety is number one. How they like the possibility of injury, I want it to be like at zero. Yeah. So like when I see people and they're doing the stuff on social media, and there's like, if you don't have like the best muscle mind connection, there's like a 90% chance of you getting injured. I'm very much so concerned, but maybe it's me projecting. I don't know, but like safety in terms, because then like, I don't know, when it's a normal everyday person, like you get injured, you're like hospitalized, or you have to stop working. So your livelihood, you can't provide anymore for your family.
For sure.
And so like all that because you did something silly.
Yeah, for sure. I just find, I don't know, I find people are just, anyway, something I get.
People are people.
People are going to people. People are going to do people things.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's just one of those things that's kind of wild, but it is what it is. I guess, like you said, for the popularity of things, people do stuff just to kind of like be recognized in that way.
Exactly.
We talked a bit about your why. Going more into your why. Why did that become a why for you? Well, I talk a bit more about what your reason behind why you got started in the first place.
So I was very much so concerned in terms of cardiovascular diseases that affect predominantly Black people. And then when you look at men and women, women tend to be predominantly affected by cardiovascular diseases. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, and for me, one thing that I think I forgot to mention is that I have a master's degree in microbiology. So like I didn't like I have fitness on the side, but like
come on now.
In terms of education, like I studied HIV, but HIV is an infectious disease. Yeah. And what the difference that I see between infectious disease and chronic disease is that you can't always control infectious diseases. Yeah. Or prevent them to a certain extent. But chronic diseases like high blood pressure, diabetes, cholesterol, those are diseases that you can prevent. Okay. And so when I did a bit of a shift from academia, working in like infectious diseases into chronic diseases, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is something we can change. Like we have power over this. And so it really touched me. And then another thing that touched me is that I know someone personally that was affected by high blood pressure. And so what happened is that she was pregnant and she had pre-eclampsia.
Yeah, preeclampsia. Yeah,
you know.
I've done my research.
Yes.
Preeclampsia, yeah.
Pre-eclampsia, that word.
Yeah.
And her baby was born prematurely. So her baby was born prematurely, and her baby was in like the NICU for the first year and a half of her life. And so for me, it was like, like when we think of high blood pressure, cholesterol, we think that those are things that only affect our parents, our grandparents. Like, oh, I have high blood pressure, whatever. Yeah. But no, like nowadays it affects younger people. Yeah, man. And because it affects younger people, and I had that experience with one of my close friends, I was like, no. There are things we can do to prevent this, to reduce this, and we're going to take things into our own hands. And so that was one of the things that really struck a chord for me in terms of like regular population. And then for seniors, I do work a lot with seniors as well. For seniors, it's my mom. She has a severe arthritis in both her knees. Okay. And one of them is a little more severe than the other. And she's like on the fence on getting surgery. Some days she wants to, some days she doesn't. But regardless whether she gets it or not, she has to stay mobile. Because if you don't, then like the little liquid that you have, it just doesn't help you bend. And so we had physios that came at home. And from those physios that came at home, they kind of showed her the exercise to do. And having a background in martial arts and like exercising for like 24 years of my life, I'm like, oh, okay, like I got this. Yeah. And so we stopped paying the physio, and I kind of tried to do my best to take matters into my own hand in terms of like have her continue doing the exercise. And from training her, I started a group specifically for seniors to keep on being mobile, because even if you don't have atherosclerosis or arthritis, oftentimes seniors don't move as much as they should. And so with word to mouth, I was able to like build a group of seniors, and then we have like seniors in Florida on Saturdays that come and join the Zoom, because I think it's also convenient, the fact that it's in their home. They don't have to go to a gym. Some of them don't always feel comfortable. And so I often welcome them to take weights, but they don't. They do. No. It's good. Yeah, during COVID they didn't, but like now I'm like, no, you're gonna start with us. You're gonna get weights. Like like they sell them like Target, whatever. You get them, like they're not expensive, and they don't have to be the heaviest, but we need a little bit of resistance. You need some resistance, and an elastic band, and then we move from there. Broomstick as well for a little bit of mobility, but like I try to make it as easy as possible. But those are like kind of like my two whys, like heart diseases in I find general population / young people, and then mobility. And my mom and my friend were kind of like my two whys in the two groups that I serve. Yeah, your friend, I'm guessing they had a health scare or something like that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. When because the baby, she was born prematurely, and then it was like. It was just she had to go through a lot of surgery because of how young she was born. I think she was born at 26 weeks. Wow. And so they had to give her steroids immediately so her lungs could get used to breathing air. Yeah. And then so there was multiple health scares and stuff like that, and things that they were trying to control. But it really, 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 really broke my heart, and I was like a witness of how how her life hasn't been impacted by that. But by now, by the grace of God, like her kid is fine. She runs, she talks. But then like when she was 1 and stuff, like they kept on saying negative things about her kid, but like her kid walks and talks and you know, she's fine. Yeah. And stuff, but at that time it was really critical.
They say, well, I have noticed in conversations I've had with people that kind of like if a child will be scared if you're scared as a parent. I don't have kids, so I don't know, but I've witnessed it myself. Like if the parent comes with confidence and says, no, my child will be okay, chances are the child will be fine because your child feels it and goes according to what you do. So obviously your friend had a lot of confidence that no, they'll be okay.
Oh yeah.
And that's what has resulted in that. So I always find it funny when it's okay. I think if a person says to you, you know, there's a chance that this could happen, as opposed to, oh, they'll never do this again. I never understood that, man. I'm like, why would you say that?
Huh?
Why would you say that to somebody?
Honestly, like, we have to cling on to faith and be like, no, by the grace of God, this child's gonna be okay. Yeah. Because, like, that's the thing, is that you can't always, like, yes, doctors, you know, they have a say, but then you, like you said, you have a power and you have a say over your child, and you have the ability to help them as long as you understand the situation and what's going on and what needs to be done to help them. Like, you have a great influence over your kid. Yeah. But at the time, like, I can't even say her kid was a kid because she was like an infant, you know, like 26 weeks. She's still in that incubator thing. Yeah. So it's like there's young and then there's young. Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm glad to hear that her child is obviously okay and she's okay too, and that your mom, your family is doing well as well, because that stuff, my dad has I think low blood pressure. Oh, okay. And he's had I shouldn't say he's scared. He had one situation that my mom told me about, and I was like, whoa, you know, but it happens sometimes. But he's been on his game, and they're doing what they have to do. So it's really shows how much people need to take their health seriously and not take it for granted. 100%. Us as young people, we do this all the time, and I learned my lesson. I'm turning 40 next year, and I'm like, yo, I wake up and I go, yo, my knee. I'm like, whew, what? Feel a little tightness. I'm like, you know, my ankle's kind of but you know, you get up and you move, and that's it. But imagine I didn't. And there are people who just feel pain. They go, I have this pain in my shoulder. And they don't do nothing. Yeah.
They sit there and they just sit and just sit and just sit. These sitting jobs are terrible, man. My wife
say sitting is the new smoking.
That's what I heard yesterday. Someone told me that yesterday. I said, what do you mean? Sitting is the new smoking? And she said, yeah, man, it's equivalent of it's like smoking cigarettes. I go, yo, listen, man. People out there, take advantage of your health, man. Don't take it for granted. It's very, very important.
But when you think about it, like, it does make sense. Like, the whole sitting thing, like, the posture that we are in when we're sitting, the hips, like, the knees and everything. Like, I try to stand every time I can. But then when you're driving, you're sitting. If you're, like, if you have a desk job, you're sitting. You
can't stand when you're driving. It depends on how far you drive.
Yes.
How far you drive. I try to walk as much as I can.
Okay, that's good.
Like, I don't live far from here, so I can walk to work. It's just I carry too many bags. So I'm like.
So you park far?
I tried. Today.
Like,
when I go to Costco, I park. Today, my wife took the car. So, but normally, no, she dropped me here.
Okay, you walked.
I saw your shoulders get disappointed. She goes, That's
the optimistic in me.
She'll do burn. You walked here, yes. No, when I can, especially when the weather is nice. Man, I put my backpack on. I just dip out because I think that. The best treadmill you have is your feet.
Yes.
You don't need to have a machine to do that. You can just get outside and walk. And it's the best place to do is fresh air. You know, instead of being trapped inside of a building.
And you were talking about vitamin D at the beginning of this episode.
Yeah, man. Vitamin D is the best. Listen, man. So many people are deprived of it. It's crazy. Like, you shouldn't have to supplement on things. I do, personally, but people shouldn't have to. They should be able to get some oxygen and get some sunlight in their system, because it's definitely going to help for sure. So now we understand what your whys are. We understand how that built and how things came about from there. Then you started this event. What got you started to start this event, Catch and Release?
So the name changed throughout time.
Okay.
Because the first year anniversary was in 2020.
Okay.
So like 2020, I was kind of going with the vibe of like society and everything. So 2020, I called it Exhale. We had like the whole George Floyd thing. I can't breathe. So like that first year, I called it Exhale. The second year was 2021. That we were like in a hybrid mode because COVID was there, but gyms were open and they closed and they were open and closing. So things were like hybrid. So I called it Reset. Because I felt as though we all kind of needed a reset. And then it's the third year that I started with the catch and release. And then I kept it on with that. And the idea came with the fact, number one, that it's in spring. So like when we're in spring, there's like a big cleaning that has to happen. You keep the things that you need and you let go of the things that you don't need, as much physically as mentally and emotionally. And then apart from the spring thing, it's also in terms of like a lot of mental things of like winter is very much so a depressive season. And so it's just the idea of starting new and releasing the old and keeping what is like critical and useful. In French, it's like lâcher prise, and it's like kind of like letting go of the wheel and just like holding on to what's important.
And what's important from there. That's amazing. That is really amazing. And you mentioned this year you have 3 instructors, you being the 4th one, and it's an all-day event. What can people expect with this event?
So essentially, like you had said, it's multidisciplinary. And the reason why I like that it's multidisciplinary because people don't always like the same things. People don't always like the same workouts, and people are not good in every area. So there is stretching. People can expect stretching in the morning at 10 a.m. with Gabriella. And then there's Pound Fitness. And what's really cool about the Pound Fitness is that this year we're focusing on mental health. Okay. And we're making noise for mental health. And during that class is where people are using drumsticks to work out. So it's much more of a cardio class, but with drumsticks. So it's called Pound Fitness. Yeah. And then afterwards at 2 p.m. we have a strength and conditioning circuit done by me. And then at 5:30 we have a hip hop step. So now it's like a little more like feet, cardio with feet on the step. It's super well like that's one of the things on social media I don't hate seeing is like all the step classes.
Ooh, let me tell you, man.
In Atlanta, the step classes in Houston. Wow. You just want to hop on a plane and go.
I'm telling you, man.
I don't know. I have something to say about that. Like when I was going to Houston back and forth in 2019 before I launched my business, like I would go for the step class as well. And like I remember one time I was traveling to Mexico, and then to come back to Montreal, they're like, you're gonna stop in Dallas. And I'm like, no, I'm stopping in Houston. And then in Houston, I'm going to do the step class, and then I'm going to come to Montreal. And I literally, like, changed my itinerary to stop just to in go Houston, to thing, do the step class, and then come back to Montreal. And then the third time I went was with my friend, and my friend's like, oh, no, I need to see what this is. I need to try this out. And then she tried it out, and she loved it. And so the fact that Montreal is finally having, like, step instructors that are certified and that can provide not the classic step that were, like, in the 80s or 90s. Yeah,
the grapevine.
Yeah, exactly.
And step. Trust me.
That entertainment part that I like, the hip hop step. Yeah. And so, yes, this girl called Kemi will be teaching it.
Okay, nice.
And then a last circuit for my Saturday folks that work, people on Saturday that work. Yeah, and they're like, yo, Laurie-Ann, what if I could come after work? So then, like, create a class specifically in the later evening for people that work.
You know, I'm gonna get my wife to come.
Yay!
I'm gonna buy her a ticket. She's gonna be like, you volunteer me to do this. I'm like, yes, you should go. I'll get her to bring some friends. I think that's amazing. Last year you had Ian.
I did.
Yeah.
Last year I had Ian, and the year before last year I had Nate.
And you had Nate as well. Yeah. Shout out to Ian Jones. Shout out to Ian Jones. Shout out to my guy Nate.
Shout out to Kareem's friends.
I mean, man, I wish I could go. The step part. Listen, I watched this video of this guy in Cleveland, I think it was. Mm-hmm. And everyone just waiting there, whatever. And it was guys.
Yeah.
And the man put the music on, and I was like, yo, this is crazy. This is crazy. Then I think there's one in Toronto because there's this gym that I had told my wife, I'm like, oh, next time we go, I'm going to bring you there because it's like a women's gym. Okay. But they have those classes too. Mm-hmm. And I saw a video and I was like, no, you need to do this because that's kind of stuff that she would like. Mm-hmm. You know, it's different type of movement. Mm-hmm. But I think that kind of stuff is fun. Listen, if I had access to enough steps, I'd be like, yo, I'm about
we
about to do this right now.
You create the access to the steps.
Yeah,
but I'm so happy that like Montreal is on board for that good. Because like you said, like you see people doing it, and what I like is like, you know, in terms of touch to the cardiovascular diseases, people are doing cardio, which is really good for their health, which is really good if they have high blood pressure, if they struggle with diabetes, but they don't feel like they're exercising. They're entertained while they're exercising. And so like it's like a win-win-win on every level. They're entertained, they're getting exercise, they're reducing their blood pressure. Like I don't know, for me it's like win. And then they're having fun and they're like dancing and that
these guys are just anyways. I'm glad it's coming here too. I'm definitely looking forward to actually no, there was someone that I contacted. I can't remember her name. Anyways.
And it's not everybody that teaches it well though.
Yeah. This one girl, and I was like, oh, I'm looking for a step class, and the girl's like, oh, come to my class. I can't remember where it was though. But anyways, I didn't get a chance to go, but I'm definitely gonna see if we can make that happen again. So you have different times that you're doing with this event. You said you have a later one, so those who are working late on a Saturday, you definitely can make it out. But if you're there during the day, you expect to have a good number of people. Are they able to do like multiple classes throughout the day, or is it just 100%.
Like, okay, so cool. A lot of people are signing up for at least 2 classes throughout the day. This year, I mentioned that, you know, we're focusing on mental health. So there is part of, for like the Pound Fitness, the ticket is a little bit more expensive because a profit of the ticket is going to My Mental Health Matters. And there's going to be between some of the workout sessions, there's going to be like mental health talks.
Okay,
and cool. So like in the early afternoon, we're going to talk a little bit about depression, anxiety, and loneliness. And then in the evening, we're going to talk a little bit more about work-life balance. Does it exist? What is it? Is it a myth? And how does it impact your mental health?
We spoke a bit about social media before. Obviously, it's inevitable that everybody uses it now. When I first started as a trainer, I used to like do newspaper.
Yeah?
I did newspaper. I did flyers, stuff like that.
You went all out. Good.
I mean, and I got started, but now it's so easy.
Yeah.
How would you say that social media has impacted what you do, like your business, your brand?
It's a yes and no. Like the thing is that because it's impacted it in like very positive manner. Good. Because I see social media as like Google as well. Yes, of course, Instagram, Facebook. But to be honest, because my seniors are like a growing group, they are not on social media.
Okay.
So I've had to like put efforts outside of what in French we call it numérique, but outside of the digital world. Yeah. So I still have to do that in-person presence outside of your classic digital media. Right. I still believe in radio. Newspapers as well, word to mouth. But in terms of how it's impacted it, definitely positively. I don't know the world like I don't know the world of when you just put it in the newspaper. I still do it. Like I like to be in Metro and all the stuff when Metro used to exist. But like the physical, I've been in the physical newspaper as well. But like. Not as much as like because social media has always been there. Yeah. So
that's just true. When you started, it was
it was always like very, very present in terms of growth. But I don't know. I also find like it's not the end all.
No.
Means, you know, like in terms of like whether it be your followers, it doesn't necessarily represent the success of your business. It just helps in terms of brand awareness,
exposure,
marketing. A certain level of exposure, because exposure really is like contact with the right people. It's not the amount of the people, it's the right people.
Very true.
And so I think it helps in just having a footprint is what I would say. Like having a footprint in certain platforms so you exist, and then if it blows up, but it's not always representative of the quality or the success of the business that you have. And obviously you want it to represent the services that you offer, but I think it's important to have a footprint in all of the kind of medias that they have, just so you exist.
Yeah, that. So you don't have any clients that come to you and say, "Laurie, I want to show you this. I want to look like her."
I've had that. I don't have a lot, but
you've had that before.
I've had that. I think it's normal. It's human. I don't even know what to say about
and then
that.
Then you have to drop some bars on them and say, well, why don't you want to look like you? You know?
There's that too, and then there's just like do we know, like, I don't know, that's a whole conversation, because it's first of all, do we know if this body is 100% real?
There you go.
There's that conversation.
Yeah.
Then there's the other conversation of how much time. If it's real, cool. Kudos to you. But how much time did it take this person to get there?
Yeah,
and that's where I focus, because like people can mold your body. That's a bit more bodybuilding, you know. For sure. But like you can do it. It takes, like, I have respect for people that have done it, because it's a certain level of discipline and dedication like it's out of this world. It's dedication in the kitchen and outside of the kitchen.
Yeah. And
so it's like, what level of investment are you willing to put into? Because this person took them 5 years to get there. Yeah. So are you willing to like 5 years?
To wait 5 years. Let's go. It's tough, you know. I'm pretty sure you have like menopausal clients too.
Premenopause,
premenopausal and stuff. I have some clients like that too, and it frustrates them. And I was speaking to a client yesterday who does counseling for that.
Okay.
And she was saying it's one of those things where you have to kind of let the wave pass.
You have to ride the wave, yeah.
Ride the wave out, and then your body will come to where it has to go to. It's just that what you're doing now is helping that to accelerate that, so that the wave kind of goes as opposed to being like big and down. And when you get there, you'll realize, okay, I only had to wait a couple of months, maybe to a year or two, while things were happening, for my body to come to where it has to be, as opposed to years, because of being like off and on inactive. And it does come down to being consistent.
It helps with the symptoms. Exercising helps with the premenopausal system, like whether it be the insomnia, the headaches. A lot of the symptoms are reduced or alleviated when you exercise, and that's the feedback that I get from my clients, because like from what I hear, it's intense, like not being able to sleep, and then having headaches or migraines, and then you have to like live your life daily, but then you want to exercise at the same time. And what I've noticed with time is that like it is a bit like what you're saying, like it does get better. As long as you kind of keep up at it. And I think as a trainer, like that's like our job, to be like, okay, like if you're not well today, that's okay. Tomorrow will be better. Yeah. And then we'll just keep on at it. Keep on from there.
Yeah, that's very important. This conversation has been great so far. We have a couple more things I want to ask. Your schedule right now, I'm just checking some things out. So you have several different classes, different days. Oh yeah, we out here. Because we can send people your way. That's what's up. Like, especially if it's a virtual thing, I think a lot of people will benefit from that. So you have Booster Club, Weekend Warrior, Fearlessly Unstoppable, Unleash Your Greatness, and Strong is Ageless. How did you come up with the concept of these classes?
The names and the classes. Yeah. It was like Legos, like they were built one after another. Unleash Your Greatness was definitely one of the first classes. Okay. It's a strength and conditioning class. Because I come from a sport that, performance matters.
Yeah, very important.
It's a performance-based sport, not necessarily appearance, but performance. And so there's a certain unleashing that needs to happen when you're a fighter. And so originally it was like a circuit, but now it's a lot more one-on-one. But like after I retired from being a fighter, it was about like unleashing that greatness on the turf, on the circuit. Yeah. And so it's something that I've experienced of myself that I like to allow other people to experience. And so I like people to like give their all and end all in a circuit, whether it be the cardio portion or the strength portion. Yeah. Whatever your strength is. Like some people, like when you do a strength and conditioning circuit, they're like, oh, my cardio is not my best, but I love to lift weights. And so like that's where the idea came with that. Strong is Ageless. That name is for like seniors, because one thing again with seniors, we think that when they grow old, or when we grow old, what's gonna happen is that you lose strength and stuff like that, but it doesn't have to be that. It doesn't have to be your narrative. You can.
Fun fact: your lean tissue depletes by, I think it's like
1%.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, over a period of time after you turn 30. And so like you can fight that. And then it's also I like to break the narrative of the fact that like old people cannot be strong. Old people can be strong.
They can be strong,
have
for
to
sure.
keep maintaining it and keep lifting weights and having resistance training. And then the booster one is like that morning, because after a lot of my morning clients, after they're done training, they get it's like a coffee a little bit.
Yeah.
Because we end with cardio. We start with a little bit of strength and we end with cardio, so they feel energized. So that's where the idea of the booster club comes in. And then the Fearless, what's the last one called?
Fearlessly Unstoppable. Yeah.
That's like kind of like an affirmation as well. Because it's a class that I named after an affirmation, because affirmations are like really big when I was first in person before going COVID hit.
Yeah.
I was in person, and then it was just the idea of like being unstoppable when you train, you know?
Yeah. This is a solid schedule. Obviously I'll provide the link to your website so people have information. They want to be able to contact you and join some of these classes. I'm gonna try and get my mom on this too. I'm telling them, yo, mom, sign up.
Yo, the seniors, they love it, because after that there's like a bit of a social club too.
Yeah.
Like it's like one thing to talk on the phone, but then when you see the person, it's like there's a social
it does make a difference for sure. Yeah, that's one of the things that try my best to introduce in the gym is just get clients to come. Say, yo, come do your program here. You'll be with people, because we see the benefit of being in a community, being in an environment. Because you had mentioned one of the things that people are combating, other than anxiety and depression, loneliness is like the biggest pandemic right now.
Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of scary.
I'm super happy you're talking about that, because like people don't realize it.
Yeah.
And then the more that you work remote, like you don't go out, like it comes and it creeps in. And I don't think we, as like, I don't know, as society, we always have like the right eyes to see. And then in terms of senior, when they retire and they don't have their social activities, if they don't go to church, or if they don't have like any kind of social club, then it can easily creep in.
For sure.
And so I think like whether you're senior or whether you're young, like if you don't have a community or an in-person job, like loneliness can creep in and play with your brain.
Play with your brain. Yeah, for sure. That is for sure. Well, this is a great schedule here, because I think anyways, I'll make sure that people get a chance to check out the website and learn more about you in that regard, because I think what you're doing with this is phenomenal. And I wish I had known about it before, but but it's okay. Learning about it now, you're here now, you're learning it now, so that's always good. We touch a little bit on collaborations. Okay, so I've had this conversation with several trainers, people in general, and I said, yo, why is it that people don't collaborate here? And I've gotten various answers like, sometimes it's the English language thing, the French language, whatever. A lot of times it's ego, stuff like that. What would you say is the barrier between people getting together to do things together? Because we were talking about this. You have in the States, people come together, they do stuff. It's like bang.
Yeah.
In Ontario, in Toronto, they have a lot of people who do stuff together. Here, it's like, it's sort of happening a little bit now, but it's still kind of, it could be better. Yeah.
100%. I believe that it's two things. I think number one, I think we suffer from a bit of a scarcity mentality.
Okay.
Like I think we see things like, if it's not all for me, then like there won't be like enough. Like feels if there won't be enough, like there's not enough abundance, there's not enough wealth, there's not enough clients. I think there's a lot of scarcity in terms of that, and that's like a mindset thing that Montreal needs to work on. And then the other thing is, I think ego possibly will be another factor. Like I think sometimes we want all the fame and all the thing attributed to us. I think that's like, I don't know, I think it creates a certain downfall, because there's so much that you're carrying alone, and you can only go so far for so long. But I think it's ego and scarcity mentality, because like when you're talking about Toronto, but I for me it's like when I go to the States, because I have a lot of family there, and there's a couple gyms I like.
Shout out to Houston.
Exactly. I will pay that ticket just to go to the gym. That's how bad it is. Like I see so much collaborations, and then sometimes we think in terms of collaborations and we limit ourselves in terms of like just collaborating between fitness instructors, but like when I go there, I see the owner of the gym collaborating with painters. She's collaborating with women doing flip-flops, like fancy flip-flops with fur. Like, she's collaborating with everyone, and it's just like everybody can get a piece of the pie.
For sure.
And like, I'm following her business from afar now because I haven't gone in a minute, but like, she just keeps on growing and growing and growing. And so now she's traveling and the business is running, and like, whenever she wants, she goes to like, I don't know, anywhere in the South that she wants. But it's like, I think it would be great, and I think Montreal would get to there. I haven't seen it that much, but I'm happy that you're seeing that people are collaborating more. And I think if it starts, then it's only up from here. Yeah,
because like this event that you're having should have more people. Not just because there should be more people who want to be active, but I think knowing this now, I can share it and be like, yo, guys, go check this out. If someone has a workshop that they're doing, okay, go check this out. And I understand that some people in their mind are like, well, why am I going to share this that this person is doing if it has no benefit to me? I'm like, well, it does, because you being the person that is able to share it to the people that you know, people will remember, oh yeah, Kareem shared this, or Laurie-Ann shared this, and boom. And then it keeps you connected. And I think that the more that we have things like that these things can work, first of all, it boosts the morale in the community, but also you just get a variety of people to kind of think. So you're never, I'm not saying that, no way am I saying at all that with your clients you get stale with them. But if your goal is to get everybody, what about the people you've had for so long? They get neglected, they left behind. And sometimes they might find it kind of like stale, like, oh, we got to change things up. So going to try out different things, and even if you as a trainer are able to go and support these events, but also go with your clients, then they get to see a different side of things. And then it's a greater expansion. It just becomes, it makes more sense that way. My thoughts, I know, I'm just saying, but it just becomes one of those things where you go, why wouldn't you do that?
Yeah, I agree 100%. Because like, I find like there's that moment like when you're like a trainer, but then there's also like that experience as a client. And so when you experience the client side of things, I think it's like a win all both ways, because then you could experience like, okay, whether it be good or bad, you experience the good and the bad, and you're like, oh, I like this or I like that. And there's like not necessarily no copyright nowhere. And so like for me, like when it comes to my birthday, like I like to try different things. Sometimes like if I like always doing strength and conditioning, I'm like, yo, let me try Pilates a little bit, you know? And just like understand what muscles are solicited that I don't solicitate in my everyday workout. Or I don't do flexibility that much, but there's a time point where like I tried to work on my flexibility, and there are classes that are specifically for that. And so like I think in terms of trying different things, being a client, and then like understanding how that could be beneficial to your business, to your clients as well, like I think it's key.
And plus too, clients like to see you work.
They do.
My clients like they
want to see you work out.
They want to see me work out, but then they go, I don't want to see you work out anymore. I'm like, why? Well, you do too well. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
But then that's the other thing. It might motivate. Like, I know when there's a camera on me, like, yo, I'm focused 100%.
Oh,
like,
man.
I'm motivated. Like,
it's funny. It's
when
funny.
you're recording, your workout's a little different.
Listen, man, when people they're like, oh, I don't have to do this, and I go, the camera comes up and they're
Boom.
like, straight.
That's right.
Full breath. I'm like, wow, where'd this go? So I have to throw all this. There's a camera on. They get it straight. But like I was saying, and overall, what I'm saying is that there needs to be more of this type of engagement so that people can really benefit. You learn from each other.
Yeah.
And I understand sometimes people don't want to share what they know because they figure, well, this person's going to take. Nah, they're not going to take. Because guess what? You took it from somebody.
Exactly. Like,
you didn't invent a squat. Squat's been invented from time.
And all the different variations too.
From time, right? So it's like you saw a video and you said, oh, I'm going to try that. Just because you change the name doesn't mean it's going to be a different thing. Doing a gun barrel squat. What does that mean? It's a squat. Calm down. It just doesn't really matter. But I think that there should be more of these type of things, and I'm in the works of making this happen.
Nice. Keep us posted.
I think there needs to be more of an event. Well, one thing I was really impressed by, again talking about Toronto, there's this group called City Shred. They do large training events. Okay. And they have like multiple trainers that support this. I guess they're all part of the same team, but they do something like that. And I thought, man, that would be crazy if they had it here.
Montreal had something like that.
You get 10, 15 trainers. Doesn't matter if they speak French, English, doesn't matter. Various disciplines.
It's actually important for them to speak multiple languages.
For sure. And you have set up, you have like a big, huge space, and you have like one thing running here, boom, boom, boom. And you get people to just kind of like mix, and then they get to try different stuff out. I think to me that would be like crazy. They did it over Zoom.
Wow.
Because a good friend of mine, shout out to my guy Jay, he was one of the instructors. He did like a boxing thing.
Okay.
But they had different people doing stuff, and I remember I jumped on. I thought this is really cool. But even if it's not on Zoom, even if you did it in person, but if you did it in Zoom too, there's ways to make things come together.
Do those little rooms there.
Yeah, and have things. I think that would be so legit.
I think I've seen what you're describing because I've collaborated one time with a girl in Toronto. Her name is Celeste of the Healing Lotus, and she's a mobility specialist. But she's actually been part of an event that you're describing. It was in person because it was post-pandemic. Yeah. But because it was so large, I think they had it on like a football field or a soccer field.
Yes. It must be that.
Yeah.
Must be that.
Like the instructor for that segment pops up, and then they do the mobility and X, Y, and Z, and then you switch or whatever. But because it's such a large group, you have to have it in a place. Like
that. Yeah, there was one I did a couple years ago, outside of Sports Experts.
Oh, you did one
in the mall.
Okay.
Because one of the owners of the gym, her friend is co-owner of Sports Experts, and so they had an event. And I was an instructor. I did 1 year. I was one instructor, and then another year I did the whole thing.
Wow.
Yeah, they were like, "Oh, we want you to come back," and I said, "Okay, cool." So who else is gonna be part of it? Like, oh no, just you. Okay. I said, it's cool, no problem. But I remember it was cool because you had all these people in the mall, and then you have people walking in the mall wondering what's going on. They're watching from the balcony. You have people already set up to work out.
Yeah.
In front of the store, had music, blah blah blah. Had a microphone. I was walking around checking everybody. I think that kind of stuff should be done.
That's dope.
But you have different people. Even if you did it once a week and just had a different thing, then people know what they can engage in. All these ideas I'm throwing out here, I've been saying this from time that this stuff needs to be done. And hey, man, I'm going to make this happen somehow.
Let's go.
I'm calling out right now. I'm calling out right now.
You're making it happen. He said he's making it happen.
We're manifesting this to make this happen for sure. I definitely think it's an important thing.
I'll be keeping an eye out.
So May 18th, catch and release.
That's right.
Or in French, lâcher prise.
That's right. You got the French.
On fait de bruit pour la santé mentale. Oh, listen to it.
Yeah.
Here, man. Make noise for mental health. This is what the event is with the lovely Laurie-Ann.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to having more people sign up for this.
That's right.
Right now, you mentioned you have about 30 people, so we're going to make sure that we get some good numbers. I'm going to put all the links and stuff in the episode so people know what they can sign up for and what they can be part of.
When it comes to health, like it's only you, right? It's like you versus you type of thing, you know? Like you got to keep going. And the thing is that for me, it's like whether you start with me and you start with someone else, like just keep at it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like find the shoe that fits and then keep it on. So you can always reap the benefits of having a good health.
Right.
So you don't reap the benefits of disease.
Yeah.
Nobody wants that. Reap the benefits of what's beneficial for you, which is staying active, staying healthy, and then become a black belt in that, regardless of where it is.
Yeah.
But then when you're not doing neither of them, and then you're neglecting your health, well, that I don't know. For me, I sometimes super compassionate. It hurts,
Yeah.
To see people that I think we had touched upon it a little bit at the beginning of the episode. They're suffering from something.
Yeah.
But they're not taking action, especially when they can take action
to
prevent, to reduce their suffering.
Yeah.
Because then, we're all interrelated. So your suffering can have an impact on someone else's
For
suffering.
sure.
Whether you have kids, whether you have parents, whether you have family, we all have loved ones, hopefully. And so, everything is interrelated.
Everything is interrelated. And you're absolutely right. Because just finishing with that point, we take for granted our health too much. And as you've experienced, and I've even experienced myself in the last several months, people death is people losing their lives, and you don't want to wait until the point where you now don't have a choice to have to make a choice to do something.
Yeah.
If you know you need to get help with something, whether it be mental health, physical health, you want to take advantage of, eating better, drinking more water, taking in vitamin D, going outside. These things that we have access to right now, take advantage of them now. Because things can change in an instant. And we often see that happen and we go, man, I wish I would have done this. I don't want to live my life like that.
100%.
I'd rather live my life saying, listen, I had the opportunity to do this. I'm going to do it. And that's definitely great advice you can give to anybody, young or old. Whatever position you're in right now, take advantage of the opportunities to better yourself mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, financially, even too. All these things play a factor because we have our health now.
Yeah.
We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
No.
So we want to take full advantage of that.
100%.
That is amazing. Laurie-Ann, thank you so much for coming. This was a great conversation. I appreciate you coming here today and discussing more about the event. Again, the event is Catch and Release. It's the 5th edition.
Yes,
Make Noise for Mental Health. It's May 18th. All the registration details will be available. So guys, please take time to check it out. This is going to be an episode I think is going to be impactful on a lot of people. Hopefully it's going to be impactful on the community. So make sure that you share it. And make sure you guys check it out. Check out all the other episodes as well of the First Five podcast. As you know, we're back in the building again. It's available on Spotify, Apple, Google, and now on Amazon Music, in addition to other streaming platforms around the world. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at the First Five Podcast for your weekly dose of mental motivation and inspiration as we aim to help you to be the best version of you 1% at a time. Also, for free fitness, game, and movement inspiration, make sure to follow us at goodfit_fitness as well. More episodes, more interviews, and more energy is definitely on the way. So please continue to keep it locked. Keep showing your support, keep showing your love, and make sure you guys attend this event May 18th. It's your boy, Coach K. It's Laurie-Ann. Are we out?
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Take care.
This is your time now, chase it. Run hard, tell me